Healthy, long life, quality of life. And there are people on the planet that do experience that. I don't know if you've heard of the book Blue Zone. You have Time magazine, I think it was 15 years ago, did also an article on Blue Zone. They looked at, we're going to particularly look at 3 groups of people that live long lives, commonly into their hundreds, quality of life. And the journalist actually interviewed and followed a lot of them. And one was the Okinawans, which are Japanese. I think it's a Japanese island. Very hard for McDonald's to get to islands. And there's a picture of a Okinawan woman, 85, collecting seaweed in the shallow part around the island. Also the Sardinians, which is an Italian group of people, and he was climbing hills, almost mountains, for this 90-year-old man to check his goats, and he could hardly keep up with him. Now the third group of people were the Seventh-day Adventists, and they're a group of people that commonly have much better health. So the 3 common denominators with these 3 groups of people were they're always active, and tomorrow we're going to be looking at exercise. Number 2, they eat food in its natural state. A lot of them are vegetarians. The ones that eat meat, it's not a large part of their diet. And the third common denominator was they're very social.
Hello, I'm Barbara O'Neill. Today we're diving into food menus. Whether you're planning meals for yourself or for the whole family, having a well thought out menu can simplify your cooking routine and help you maintain a balanced diet. Did you know that planning your meals can save you up to $300 a month on groceries and reduce the stress of last-minute meal decisions? In this lecture, we'll discuss how to create effective and nutritious food menus, tips for keeping your meals varied and exciting, and how to adapt your menu to fit different dietary needs. So stick around as we explore practical strategies to make meal planning a breeze and help you enjoy healthier, more delicious meals every day. As a thank you for joining me today, we're giving away 100 free copies of my best-selling book to subscribers. So if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, like this video, and comment why you want to win.
First of all, like to look at is what would be a really good breakfast for a diabetic. So what does a diabetic have to reduce down?
Sugar.
The sugars, that's right. They have to reduce them right down. It doesn't mean they can't have sugars. It means that they need to greatly reduce it. So any suggestions on a good way to start a diabetic's breakfast? And there's no right or wrong answers here, okay? Yeah? Lentils. Lentils is a good one. So we might put lentils here. What we aim for is half cooked, half raw. And the reason why we like half cooked, half raw, because raw will deliver what cooked won't, and cooked will deliver what raw won't. But if someone's got an irritated lining of the gut, then maybe not raw. So you can see how you would adjust your menus according to the person and according to what their problem was. But this person does not have any gut problems. Their problem is diabetes. So what else could go with the lentils?
Walnuts. I'm just wondering, what do you mean raw would deliver?
When you cook food, you lose some of the tender vitamins. And when you cook food, you release things that aren't available in the raw. So vitamin C, of course, is destroyed with cooking. So any ideas on what else this diabetic... He might not be happy if we just give him lentils.
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit, yeah. Yeah. So grapefruit.
It's a breakfast you have. Buckwheat.
Buckwheat, yeah. What I always do with guests, because before they go home, I make out a program for them. And depending on their problem, I'll do what we're doing now. Now, if they screw up their nose at grapefruit and say, I don't like grapefruit, well, we have to do a bit of adjustment there. So what I'll often say, would you prefer to have a very savoury breakfast like avocado, tomato, cucumber? And if they go, no, I don't want that for breakfast. But some would like it. So I say, what would you like? If I make suggestions and I don't get any pluses, so I say, well, what would you like? And they might say, well, I would like to start with some fruit. So what's another fruit a diabetic could have?
Granny Smith apple.
Granny Smith apple, yeah?
Tomato.
Yeah. Or we could just say the green apple. Yeah, it could be that.
Cherries is also.
Pardon?
Cherries.
Cherries, yeah. Cherries, they're nice, low glycemic. We'll say an or an or. Okay.
Berries in general. Berries.
That's right. Yep, we'll just say berries. He might live here and on his morning walk he might pick blueberries. So let's have a look and see what we've got here. We've got our fibre, yeah? Everything has fibre. We've got protein, we've got some protein in the buckwheat, we've got some protein in the legumes, the lentils, fats.
Avocado.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. Avocado could come up with the raw. And of course, avocado would depend on where the person lives because sometimes the avocado is just too expensive or not grown there. Nuts, yep. Nuts will certainly lift it up. So that's a great breakfast for a diabetic.
Should they have flax seeds?
Yes, they could have some seeds. That's true.
What about rice?
Well, if we did rice, it'd be an or, yeah? Buckwheat or rice.
Another excellent option for a diabetic's breakfast could be incorporating whole grains like oatmeal. Oatmeal is high in fibre, particularly beta-glucan, which helps in managing blood sugar levels. Adding a handful of nuts, such as almonds or walnuts, can also provide healthy fats and a bit of protein, which can help sustain energy levels throughout the morning. Another idea is to include Greek yogurt, which is higher in protein than regular yogurt and has a lower carbohydrate content. Topping it with berries like blueberries or strawberries adds natural sweetness without spiking blood sugar levels. If they prefer something savoury, an omelette made with plenty of non-starchy vegetables, such as spinach, mushrooms and bell peppers, can be a great choice. The eggs provide a good source of protein and healthy fats, while the vegetables contribute fibre and essential vitamins. For those who enjoy smoothies, a green smoothie with spinach, avocado, a small portion of fruit like half a green apple or a few berries, and some chia or flax seeds can make a nutrient-packed breakfast that is both satisfying and blood sugar friendly.
So someone with cancer, what would be the best breakfast for them?
No sugar.
Almost the same.
Dark green.
A little bit different. We want to get those carbohydrates right down. So with the cancer, we usually advocate 6 weeks no fruit. So what would be their breakfast if there's going to be no fruit?
Berries.
No fruit.
No fruit. Yeah, it's good.
No fruit. We want to get the glucose levels down even lower.
Green.
Pardon?
Also lentils or beans or
Yeah. What would we do for the raw?
some vegetables.
There's a group of classified as fruit, but almost not classified as fruit because they're the savoury fruits.
Tomato.
So we've got tomato, cucumber, avocado, pumpkin, zucchini, eggplant. Yep. So what would be the raw? Avocado?
Cucumber.
Cucumber?
Celery.
Celery, yeah. Again, we've got to make it so that they like it. And they can have a little grain, but not a lot of grain. So maybe just half a cup of some of the grains we just looked at. Yeah? Maybe rice? You've gone quiet.
Yeah, but I like some color to that. It's green.
So will we put buckwheat? And or rice? And we can have some green. What would be some green?
Broccoli.
Yeah, or you could have some steamed vegetables maybe. Steamed veg, we'll just say steamed veg. Again, it depends on the lady of the house that's doing the cooking. Okay, we've got our fibre. Got a little bit of protein in here, not a lot. Protein?
Lentils.
Yeah, we'll do some legumes, yeah. Now this is what I advocate or suggest, that when someone is on the no fruit for 6 weeks, variety is very important, so they don't get sick of it. So I suggest Monday lentils, Tuesday cannelloni bean, Wednesday black-eyed bean day, Thursday chickpea day. Can you see the variety there? Friday tofu. Yeah?
What about carrots? May they eat carrots because they are a bit sweet?
As long as they're not eating a whole plate of carrots.
Yeah. But the rice is still okay when you want to bring down the carbohydrates?
As long as it's not much. You wouldn't have 2 cups of rice, you wouldn't even have a cup of rice. So what would you fill up with on the steamed vegetables, on the legumes? So not much, yeah?
Do you have any ideas? I mean, you're in the health center and you can cook for the people, but if we just suggest them how they do it, then this seems very complicated for them, I guess, if you just tell them like this.
That's why we don't just tell them. And that's why we say, would you do this? Would you do that? No, no, no. What about this? What about that? That's what we always do. And as I said before, if you don't get a nod, if anything you've suggested, you say, well, what would you like to do? What could you do? And that's what you do. That's why that other breakfast, which was avocado, tomato, cucumber, sourdough, spelt toast, and lentils on top, or in Australia you can buy baked beans. Everyone has baked beans.
They're full of sugar.
That's right, but you can get organic baked beans that have no sugar in them. So you're looking at what they can do, and you know, if they have a wife who likes cooking, so there's all of that you have to play with.
When planning a cancer-friendly breakfast, it's essential to focus on nutrient-dense foods that support overall health while being mindful of carbohydrate intake. Incorporating a variety of vegetables, especially those low in carbohydrates like leafy greens, broccoli, and cauliflower, can be beneficial. Additionally, healthy fats from sources like avocado, nuts, and seeds provide energy and help maintain stable blood sugar levels. Including plant-based proteins such as legumes, tofu, and tempeh adds variety and essential nutrients. If grains are included, opting for whole grains like quinoa or buckwheat in small portions ensures that the meal remains balanced. It's also important to consider the individual's taste preferences and ensure that meals are enjoyable and satisfying to prevent diet fatigue. Staying hydrated with water, herbal teas, or broths is crucial as well, and working closely with a healthcare provider or dietitian can ensure the meal plan is tailored to individual needs.
Lunch. What could be a packed lunch? Because we want to have the main meal at lunchtime. Salad? Yep.
Dal.
Dal, yep. So let's have a look at some legume options. So some legume options could be hummus, yeah? Could be lentil burger, yeah? So we're looking at something that can be done at lunchtime. Now the dressings, we've just been talking about dressings, and we talked about a lemon oil, put a bit of tahini in it, makes it creamy. So you've got a crushed garlic, you've got a nice creamy dressing there. If it's too thick, you just put a bit of water in. Makes it delicious dressing. So an easy, quick lunch is the dressing, which you made on a Sunday afternoon or the day before, and a tin of cannellini beans, say, or a packet of cannellini cooked beans. Rinse it well and put those two together. Got that? That's very nice.
Like
And that's
marinated beef.
very, very simple. It's just beans with a nice creamy savoury sauce. So I'll just say white bean and dressing. There's something else, is marinated tofu. And the longer that sits in its marinade, the nicer it gets. Tofu's a tasteless sponge. You've got to do something to it. So what would you make the marinade out of? Lemon, oil, maybe crushed garlic, maybe a little grated ginger, salt, maybe a little miso in that. Sitting in that makes it very nice.
I had something very nice at one time. It is from a man who grew up in Egypt. It was a can of red beans and a little can of concentrated tomato puree, but I don't know if you would like to use it, with some, he was sauteing some onions and a bit of garlic and put all together. And this he put on a piece of bread. Then is it good to have gluten-free bread?
If you can get a nice one.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to find a nice one.
Yeah.
A lot of gluten-free breads aren't very nice.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're better to use rye crackers,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah.
And that's certainly something that they might put in crackers. Again, you've got to read your labels, make sure there's no sugar in there. I found something and I travel with them all the time. They're called Fin Crisps.
Yeah.
And they're a rye cracker. And I travel with them, so if there's not much, I can have Fin Crisps with avocado. That's so this is packed lunch, yeah. There's something else that that's an easy additive, and that's olives, yeah. Something else that can be added to a packed lunch is some baked sweet potato or pumpkin from yesterday. So when the meal's being made, do a bit of extra baked sweet potato, baked pumpkin, and they're nice cold. So we want a lunch that's nourishing. So where are we with our fibre? Everything's got fibre. Where are we with our protein? There's a nice selection of proteins there. Our fats, most of these have a bit, you know, your marinades have a bit of oil, the dressing has a bit of oil. The hummus has tahini and maybe a little olive oil in it. Got some oil in your olives. And a nice dessert is some nuts. Because a lot of people, especially meat eaters, they've no idea what to have for a picnic. So it's good for you to play around with those yourself.
To add more variety to your packed lunches, you can mix in some grains and vegetables. Quinoa is a great option. It's high in protein and pairs well with veggies like cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, and bell peppers. You can toss in some parsley or cilantro and finish it off with lemon juice and olive oil. Roasted vegetables are also a good addition. You can roast zucchini, eggplant, and bell peppers at the start of the week. These can be used in salads, sandwiches, or enjoyed on their own with a dip like hummus or tahini. If you want something more filling, try a grain bowl. Start with brown rice or farro, add your protein like grilled chicken, marinated tofu, or black beans, and top it off with a variety of veggies. A simple dressing or just a squeeze of lemon or lime juice can tie it all together.
Let's do a keto. Keto breakfast. And why would someone be on a ketogenic diet? Neurological problems. Neurological. Remember the especially the coconut oil is broken down to ketones, which are neurohealers, neuroprotectors. So let's have a look at a keto diet. Fiber's important. Some raw.
Cheesecake with coconut oil.
No, we're not going to have cheesecake on the ketogenic diet for breakfast.
The healthy one, of course.
How do you do it then?
So the keto, remember the carbs are right down, so we want some savoury fruits. Brings us back to tomato, yeah. Cucumber. Avocado, yeah.
Good serving of olive oil, perhaps, to go with that.
Yep. Could be for one person, maybe half a teaspoon sprinkled over.
Half a teaspoon.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot.
No, it's not. If they can handle that, they could have more, but most people can't handle a lot because it's very concentrated. But what's the fat that we want the ketogenic pea? The coconut. So we had a young man who had a brain tumour, so we wanted him to have the coconut oil, and he could not handle it. Some people can eat off the spoon and love it, but he could not. So we made him a chocolate, and he could have a couple of squares of this after every meal. So what we do with the chocolate, it was coconut oil, carrot powder, and to make it creamy, we put tahini in.
Love it.
So it was basically that, and you can see that the carrot powder is slightly sweet, the coconut oil is slightly sweet. You could even put some coconut in that. Some shredded coconut and even some ground nuts. Especially cashews, because cashews are a nut that have a slightly sweetness about them. So our chef did all that and he was very happy. After every meal he could have two squares of his chocolate. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if it's brain issues, they could have fruit then, couldn't they?
No, no, because it's cancer, so we want it right down. Yeah.
I guess a dal would be nice for keto as well.
Very nice, yeah. Yeah.
I have a question for considering the chocolate.
Yeah.
I made it, but I had some dates with it. I mean, not for the keto, I understand that, but it did not mix together.
Yeah. So you melted the coconut oil, you really need to.
The dates and that it did not
No.
mix together.
What you need to do, if you're putting something lumpy in like that, you need to melt this and really beat these three together. Beat them together very well. Sometimes a little blender or a bay mix to just get the mix really good, yeah?
Often they say put in lecithin, but I don't know what's
Lecithin's like you can try it. And the other is play with it a bit. Maybe a little tiny bit of soy milk might get it around a bit better.
How much tahini did you put in?
I haven't made it myself. The cooks make it. But I think you're looking at maybe if you do a cup of coconut, you'd probably do a teaspoon of carob powder, and you're looking at maybe a teaspoon of tahini. You know, you'd play with it a little bit.
When making keto-friendly recipes, it's crucial to balance fats, proteins, and low-carb ingredients. For the keto chocolate we discussed, experimenting with different nuts or seeds can enhance both flavor and nutrition. Almonds or walnuts could be great additions, offering a crunchier texture and more healthy fats. If you need to sweeten your keto treats without adding carbs, natural sweeteners like stevia or erythritol work well. They add sweetness without raising blood sugar levels, which helps keep you in ketosis. If the taste or texture of coconut oil isn't appealing, try blending it with ghee or butter. Ghee, in particular, adds a rich, nutty flavor and is packed with fat-soluble vitamins. When adding ingredients like tahini or nut butters, make sure they're unsweetened and free from added oils. Some brands can contain sugars or unhealthy fats that can throw off the ketogenic balance. Thank you for watching. I hope these tips on creating effective food menus make your meal planning easier and more enjoyable. Remember, a well-planned menu can save you time, money, and help you stay on track with your health goals. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more practical tips and ideas. Feel free to share your own meal planning strategies or ask questions in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy meal planning and take care.